Okay, we're recording. So a lot of people will be watching this on the recording because we just have so many time zones. And if you have known me for very long, you know the idea that I'm doing something at 9 p.m. is totally not up my alley. I am currently in my pajamas with no makeup. I've taken a shower. This is what you'll get on Thursday nights at 9 o'clock because Christy's brain injury, we just don't do 9 p.m. But we're going to because I wanted to make this work for as many people as possible. So let's dig in. Like I said, you're all muted right now, but I'm not a literature professor. I am not an English teacher. This really is like a book study for us to study it together. So my role is just kind of hosting the Zoom call and covering what I think are the highlights. But if I missed something that really stood out to you, please like jump in and tell me what your take is on things. The only reason you're muted is because most of you have kids running around. So it gets a little loud for the recording, but this really will only work if you guys jump in. So I want to start with just kind of asking you, how many of you look outside of yourself for answers? You're reading self-help books or listening to them on Audible, you're going to convention, you're watching motivational videos and training videos, and you do one or many of those things and you get super duper excited, and then you're not super duper excited anymore. Like you just have to keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and you're still not, you know, he talks about the shelf help. He calls it the shelf help. It's like $1 billion industry. And I have spent thousands and thousands. And I do believe that I have gained a ton of personal growth. I am not saying, you know, to be successful in network marketing, you've got to do a ton of personal development. So as I grew, as our team grew, I had to read a lot of leadership books. I have to read teamwork books. I have to read network marketing books for myself so that then I can train and teach. So there is a lot of value in it. But for this book specifically, and for a lot of books, people are just trying, they're reading them to get successful. And they talk about, you know, okay, you got to have a goal, and then you got to do the things, and then you're successful. But we're not, you know, how many of us are not? And really what that's all about. So I like the scales of success, the why to's and the why not to's. So he says on one plate, imagine that we have something called your why to's. These are your internal motives or reasons why to do something. On the other plate, you have your why not to's, your reasons why not to do something. So I just kind of wrote down an example I think that maybe makes sense to a lot of us. And I did the why to's versus why not to's of being Emerald. So for me, and everybody, like I said, chime in, tell me your thoughts. But for me, the why to of becoming Emerald, why I want to be an Emerald, I want the 6-figure income. I need it for our family, for goals, different, my bigger why vision. My Buick, we're about to have to sell it because it's fallen in the crapper, and I'd rather sell it for $5,000 than it be a doorstop somewhere. I really want to go to Hawaii. And I really like the idea that by the time I'm Emerald, how many people I have helped feel better. Okay, why not to be Emerald? Why am I not Emerald yet? There's a lot of rejection. You know, just to be, so I'm Senior Ruby. Do you know how many times I've been rejected or ignored? So many, 3 years worth of times. 3 years worth of lots of people have rejected me. Lots of hard work. So I've heard oftentimes from people, I don't know if I want to be Emerald because I just don't think I can work that hard, right? It takes a lot of hard work to go Emerald. Many personalities to juggle. The larger my team gets, I can just tell you personally, the larger our team gets, the more I am juggling all kinds and trying to keep happy and keep motivated and keep encouraged a lot of different personalities, people going at a lot of different paces who have totally different learning styles. And I want to help them as much as I can. That's only going to get more difficult. And disappointment if someone quits, right? So you're working hard and everything. You think you're getting super close, and then one of your fastest runners decides they don't want to do it anymore. It like can suck the life out of you, right? So those are, in my opinion, and like I said, you guys chime in if you have other thoughts, but just kind of a way to think about the why too. So when I'm thinking, I want to be emerald, I want to be emerald, my head also is thinking all of these things that go along with what happens. Go, Tiffany.
So, and I love that you decided to go ahead and write down what your why twos and what your why not twos were. For me, like, as I was thinking about it, I'm like, how do I know what my why not twos are? Because, you know, he talks about it. Some of it's a subconscious, like what you are doing to hold yourself back and why you're holding yourself back. And I know for me, I have at least established one, that I have a fear of being a leader, because I'm like, this is so not my forte. And I mean, which is funny, because when I told Wes I'm fearful of it, he's like, you're like the number one independent, like, go-getter kind of leader person. So for me to identify my why not tos, I'm having a hard time, like, why not to? Like, what is holding me back is like where I'm going. And I'm having a hard time deciding that and figuring that out.
Well, you were the one that told me it was going to take too much work.
Right. Like, I'm afraid of the work.
You're afraid of, because when you work that much, what suffers? Your playtime on the floor with the kids. Yeah. Your clean house. Like, Rob literally came home last night and he said, have you been home today? And I said, yes. And I have been working all day, and you and I have cleaned this house equally amounts today. And he goes, okay, just didn't know if you'd been somewhere. No, been working at my office, right? Where normally he comes home and the house is super clean and there's something to eat and all the laundry's done and his dry cleaning is picked up. But I am pushing hard for Emerald. You know what that means? The house is messy. And I just told him, for now, I will make sure you have laundry to wear to work. That's what I'll do. And I take care of Andrew. Those are the things that I am doing, that I am not dusting and vacuuming, and the dishes might not be done. I'm not doing those things because I'm working really. My Y2 of going Emerald is bigger than that right now. So that's, we all know the steps to go Emerald, right? You reach out to people, you follow up with people, you sign people, and you teach people to go Silver. And you duplicate. We all know the steps. So then he talks about the iceberg of consciousness. That's a lot of subconscious things popping up in our head that we've got no choice and no control over. 90%, that's pretty bonkers. And how truly, honestly, how can we succeed when 90% of our thoughts we don't have any control over? That's no good. I like in 17 where he gives examples of the ugly little thoughts that may pop up when we're trying to focus on succeeding. So Bob Heilig was doing a training I was listening to the other day about financial roadblocks. And he didn't use this language, but he was talking about like a subconscious thoughts that are that we don't realize are there, that are preventing us from having a lot of financial success. And I'd never thought of it until whatever he said sprung it out on me. And I will tell you, I have a big concern about people thinking that I'm a snob. And as it goes deeper in this chapter and it talks about where do those behaviors, where do those behaviors and thoughts come from? So I grew up super duper poor, really poor, but I always wanted fancy things. It's Deanna's biggest joke. She can unmute herself. I think that I am fancy. My husband will tell you, I have a champagne budget. I have a Bud Light budget and champagne taste. I was born thinking I was a princess and fancy. I was born to a single mother who sometimes couldn't afford milk and dinner. And so her insults to me as an addict were always that you're a snob, you think you're better than everybody, you're this, you're things that go along with having a lot of money, right? She put those negative connotations on me, even though I never had money, you know? And the funny thing is now I have money, but you know, those closest on my team know 18 months ago, 12 months ago, we had no money, like no money at all. But I haven't changed. I just, it's who I am. But in the back of my mind, I'm worried, will people think I'm a snob if I finally can afford all these fancy things that I want? People that know me, I don't think will think I'm a snob. This is me. But people who don't know me, will they think that? So what if my friends don't like me anymore? What if I succeed and I can't sustain it? What if I buy all this fancy stuff and a big fancy house when I'm diamond and then I lose it all? Those are real fears. So I like that he points all of that out. So here's the thing. We find something, we learn some things, we start to get success and we're doing really good. And then what happens? Fear of success creeps in and kind of says, what are you doing? And why? Because the scales of success are starting to tip. And naturally, our subconscious wants to even them back out, right? So it's going to tell us all these negative things. But here's this. How amazing is this on page 19? A feeling is a result, not a cause. Feelings don't cause themselves. When you experience a feeling or emotion, there is something going on inside of you that caused that feeling. So, like I said, my mom said all these negative things to me when I was trying to be fancy, and that caused those feelings. So how do I get past it? You know, what do we do? And he talks about you're holding yourself back from the success you are perfectly capable of achieving. Anybody have thoughts on chapter 1 before we go to chapter 2? So weird not to see anybody's faces except for Tiffany's. Thank you, Tiffany. Deanna, did you wipe your spray tan off? I need like a preview. She turned her video off because she's got a spray tan.
No, I did not wipe my spray tan off. I'm finishing dinner, and no, you guys don't want to see it. I will show it after the recording is done.
When I stop recording? Okay.
It's awesome.
I'm just used to you chiming in, so.
I know. Okay, I will chime in. I love this. I love this book, and I love your, yeah, this is good so far.
Okay, chapter 2. So he talks about the analogy of trying to put a nail in the wall with a chainsaw. Clearly, that's the wrong tool.
This was brilliant.
Right?
I loved it.
Like, how often have we been trying to do something and we've got the wrong freaking tools? Right? Do you have any examples, or can you think of anything, Jerry, that reminded you of specifically?
Just all the self-help books that I have gotten excited over, but you know, whatever their strategies are, you know, they don't work for me individually and my issues and my how-tos and how not tos.
I mean, he's exactly right. I mean, they kind of all say the same thing, right? Set your goals, visualize yourself with that goal, believe in yourself, work smarter, and you can do it. Okay.
And affirmations.
Awesome. Perfect. I got it. And I'm a huge believer in affirmations. Like, I've done all of Sonia Dudley's training. I love it. They've been great for me, but we're not even going to chapter 4 yet, but holy moly. So we didn't have the right tools. And then we beat ourselves up because we're not doing it right. and it's totally not even our fault. So he talks about like why the you can't solve, let's see, here's the thing, you can never solve a Y2 problem with a how-to solution. If you're holding yourself back from success, you don't have a how-to problem, you have a Y2 why not problem. And you can never solve a Y2 problem with a how-to solution.
Absolutely genius.
Huh?
Genius.
Right?
In the audio book, he says it a few times. He said, let me say that again. You cannot, you know.
You can't. Then that makes so much sense.
So the other aspect of that kind of hit me was I have watched people trying to lose weight, and it's like they know how to.
Yeah.
They know how to do the things. They just don't have the right why. Something's holding them back. And that's where I'm like, it's where's that subconscious of you get successful and the scale starts to tip, and so you start self-sabotage, or things like that are like not even conscious. And I was like, that's a Y2 with a how-to. And it totally resonated with me of like, you can't solve a Y2 with a how-to. Is that it? How do you say that?
Yes. Yeah. You can't solve a Y2 with a how-to solution. You're absolutely right. I hadn't thought about that, but like I have a goal weight in my mind, and every time I'm about 4 pounds away from it, I go to Baskin Robbins because I'm doing so good, right? I'm so close. There is no why. I want to weigh 132 pounds. You know why? I had no idea. I made it up in my head. I made it up in my head that would be really awesome to weigh that, and I'm always gunning for it. And every time I get to 134, I start eating like garbage, and I go right back to 139 every single time, and then I go right back down because I can't stand to. And I do it. I don't have a why. There's no why behind my weight.
Yeah.
I know that I don't want to buy any bigger clothes. I think that's why at 139, I push back down, because if I go to 142, my clothes are not comfortable. And I got rid of those size clothes. So you're super good. And on page 26, like we talked about, those are the 4 steps of traditional success programs. We talked about it. Set your goals, do something, evaluate, and try again. But the 4 steps of the real world, we're living in the real world. So there's the fog. How do we beat the fog? You got to know your why. And your why's got to make you cry. So if you haven't dug deep into your why of why you want to be an emerald, or why you want to be a diamond, or why you want to weigh a certain weight, I'd never thought about that before, Tiffany, until you said that, ever. So thank you. When you don't have a true deep why, you're in a fog. And then you're treadmilling, right? How many of us get to a point where it happens for me? This is the first time it hasn't happened, but where I push so hard for a rank, and by the time I hit it, I'm so exhausted that I literally do nothing for like a month. I'm tired of talking to people. I am tired of I'm just tired. This is the first time when I was pushed for Senior Ruby that the next day I said, okay, let's go. And I don't know what switched in my head. I think my why is getting better, and my treadmilling is getting better. But because, so here's what treadmilling is to me. We're super fortunate to many of us. Well, this is a work from home business, right? So there's nobody looking over our shoulder. There's no clock to punch. When the buzzer buzzes on the washing machine or dryer, do you get up to go move it, or do you stay and work? Because if you were working at a traditional office and, you couldn't walk away. Like, you may go away from your desk to go to the bathroom or refill your water or refill your coffee or whatever it is, but you are back in your seat. And
you can't take personal time during business time.
You don't. And when we do this business, we're kind of all over the place, or we can be. And I think when I learned to time block, so that made all the difference in the world for me. So my phone literally buzzes at 10 a.m. and it says, time to work Plexus. So I work from 10 a.m. almost 5 days a week, from 10 a.m. until it's time to go pick up Andrew at 1:30. What I get done before 10 a.m., sometimes it's a great workout. Sometimes if the house is a mess, it's a less workout. And then I do the laundry and then I work. But I don't get up to do anything. Like if it wasn't done by 10 a.m., I don't do it until after I come home with Andrew. I just sit here. And I had to get a new office chair because the chair I brought with me from Florida was not meant to sit in for 3 hours. So are you really putting in intentional time into your income producing activities, or are you scattered? Are you sitting down at where you work and planning to message people, and then you get an email about some summer camp and you need to look at that for your kids, and then you scroll over and you think, oh, I haven't checked to see if that check went through, and so then you check your bank account, and then you start scrolling through Facebook and now you've been sitting there for an hour and you haven't messaged a single soul? Like, I don't know if anybody else does that, but it's easy to do that with what we do. And then you feel like a failure. So I watch, if you know me, you know that I watch a lot of training videos. So I look and I listen to what Brooke Hemingway did to go diamond and then diamond emerald. I am not working at that pace. I cannot be bitter that Brooke Hemingway went diamond in 12 months and emerald 9 months later. I cannot be bitter because I didn't work that hard. You know, she talks about when she was up, I mean, she's got all these babies, and when she's up in the middle of the night with them or nursing them or whatever, she's on her phone while she's nursing. She is sending voice messages at 2 a.m. She literally worked super duper hard once she decided to go diamond. Am I working that hard? I'm not. You know, I'm not. My pace is going to be slower because I also have a brain injury, and people on my team know I'm doing way better than I've ever done. But if I push too hard, too many days in a row, I got to take a day off. It is what it is. We all have our things, but don't feel like a failure because your rank is not where somebody else's rank is. Truly look at it and say, you know, as Carrie Wilkerson would say, stop it. Stop comparing yourself because you're likely not doing the same things. Just like you can't look at somebody else and go, I am blowing past her. Like, she's been doing this longer than me and I'm higher in ranks. You know what? You don't know what she's got going on. You have no idea why she's going slower and at a different pace. So those are that's the real world. That's what it really is all about. So apparently, this book's going to show us that we can allow ourselves to succeed to our full potential. We know the steps. Is there anybody on this call that doesn't know the steps you have to take to become a diamond with Plexus? But this is all about opening up your subconscious and allowing yourself to have that success, or to have the success in whatever it is you're trying to be successful at. That's what we're going to learn. Thoughts before we go to chapter 3? Okay. The secret code revealed. Were you guys blown away by the starvation of success and him comparing it to an eating disorder? Was that bonkers? And did it make so much sense? I was like, oh, how cool is that? Success anorexia, because we have so much head trash. And it's so right. Like, I'd never really thought about the pressure. Like, women have always had this pressure to look a certain way. And if you don't look a certain way, then you feel a certain way, right? Then you take on those feelings of like, oh, I'm not this, I'm not that. And it's all about our appearance. But now we work too. So now we're like, because I can tell you, I got to say it before Rob walks in, because he literally has been at work since 7 a.m. and he texted that he's on his way. So he'll walk in any minute. the more stressed he gets at work and the more hours he works, I bet he's gained 30 pounds since he started this job. He is exhausted. He shaves like on Monday morning, and by Friday afternoon, he looks like crap. You can't do that as a female. Like if you work a corporate job, you don't get to go in like all disheveled in your jeans and wrinkled polo shirt on Friday because you're so tired because you worked so much the week before. Like you gotta, as females, there's a different pressure of looking a certain way and now earning a certain way. Such a pressure that we put on ourselves. And I love the two truths. Everyone has potential and no one has reached it yet. Isn't that, to me, I don't know where anybody's faith lies, but to me, that's a God thing. Like if I have woken up again today, he has something else for me to do. It's as simple as that. And if I don't get out of bed and I don't take on the day with excitement and try to do something worthwhile that day, like that's not what, he didn't give me the sunrise this morning so that I could sit around and not share it with somebody else. Like nobody has reached their potential if they're still waking up. Let me see. Anybody have thoughts on that? Anybody? I like that he said, I've come to realize while we human beings fear not being who we really are, what we tend to fear even more is being who we really are. And to me, again, that goes back to, I believe 100% that if God has put a dream in your heart, he has given you everything you need to achieve it. Now, whether you're using all of those tools yet, I can't say. But if there is a dream in your heart, God put it there because he dreams bigger for us than we could ever dream for ourselves. He sees more of our potential than we could ever see. So give yourself permission to succeed. That's what we're going to learn to do in this book.
I hope it tells us how. So I hope it tells us how.
It is.
Like a how-to.
Yes, how to become the 3 percenters, right? So he talks about the 3 percenters and he says, which is so true, because always, anywhere we're going, when we're learning from leaders or whatnot, these are the 3 percenters. And if you really had to ask them how they got to where they got or how they achieved it, they don't really know. Because it's just natural. Like if they hadn't gone through, and I think when I was reading that, I thought about how many times I've heard people whose, hey, Rob's home.
Who's that?
I'm leading this book study.
Hey,
So,
book study. Who's up? Big?
Hi, Rob.
okay,
What's up?
get out of here.
Oh, man.
You know what I thought about so many times? Okay, Fallon Black, who, she was like made it to like gold or senior gold and then fell back to silver for the longest time. And now I think she's a diamond now. I don't know if she's a sapphire diamond, but she talks about like if you watch her YouTube videos or anything, she wasn't ready for it. Like she had to suck at this for a while to learn how to be great at it. Because if you haven't gone through like the struggles and all the things that come with, for the most part, like Celeste Gwynn, I'm not sure she hit a bunch of roadblocks in her path to Emerald in 4 months. I'm not sure she hit a bunch of roadblocks, but that's not normal, right? Normal is it's going to take us a few years. And I got to say, if it takes me 5 years to go diamond, but then I'm making that amount of money, that's not so bad. And all of the things that I did wrong, I mean, if you're on my team, you know, like I can tell you lots of things to do because I know for my first year how many things I did wrong. And now I can teach people how to do things correctly because I did them wrong. So, but at some point, do you get so good at this? Like you said, it's like driving a car. You're unconsciously competent. You just, how many times have we driven somewhere and we get there and we're like, how did I even get here? You know, because you drive it all the time, especially when you're taking a route that you drive all the time. How often are you like on the phone while you're driving that route? You don't remember anything that happened on your way to there. You get there and you park and you're like, okay, gotta go. Like, I made it. You don't have to think about driving at all. But I remember teaching Isaac to drive. And I remember him look at me and be like, I never thought about how difficult it is to like have a drink of water while you're driving. He's like, I get to school and I'm so thirsty because he couldn't like let go of the steering wheel to drink water. And now, you know, 4 years later, it's not an issue. You know, now we try to get them not to text and drive. They sure as heck are holding a hamburger in their lap, drinking a soda, and changing the radio station while they're driving. And they don't even have to think where they're going, right? Because GPS tells them where to go. So how great will it be when we get to that point in what we want to be great at? I think it will be amazing. All right, 43. No more head trash. Self-destructive behaviors that hold you back from success are precisely that, behaviors. A behavior is something you do that is caused by something else. You do not do anything without a reason. You know what I also know about behaviors? They can be changed. You can super duper change behaviors if you want to. And I think that's what we're going to learn. Well, we're going to learn a lot. I don't even know what all we're going to learn. I only know through chapter 4 what we're learning. Again, your why-tos will always, always trump your how-to. You know where else that is relevant in our business? How many times have you heard, it's about your passion and your excitement about Plexus. It's not about like your ingredient knowledge. It's not about your knowledge of every single product. Like, how often do we need to be telling our new people, and I know I tried to do that. It is not about you knowing everything about this business and everything about every product before you start to share it. It literally is about you being so hopeful and excited about why you're taking these products. Anybody that started them because they saw some kind of hope. They believed these products would help them in some way. And so they were willing to make that monetary investment. Now, if they go share that immediately with people, how excited they are about what they think is about to happen, their people are going to want to do it with them. And I tell you the same thing. Like, if the way you're sharing isn't working, you should be sharing your why, right? I was just on an hour-long training with Bob Heilig talking about the compassionate close, and I'll try to do some training on that in Gold Diggers. But it's all about why. Have an intentional why and share that with people, and they will buy into you. It's so important. So changing your behavior. Let's see. What's truly, so it says the 3 percenters told us to think positive, set your goals, and just do it. Well, these exhortations are not wrong any more than a chainsaw is wrong. The problem is that these are all behaviors. And as we've just seen with because he talked about bathing before work, right? If you go to a job, there's a good chance that you bathe before you go to work. You don't have to, but you're going to, because even though you know how to not take a bath and still go to work, your why to take a bath is way bigger to take a bath. So he says, just as we've seen with the bathe before work example, you cannot solve a behavior problem at the level of behavior. You must go beneath your behavior to the hidden why to's and your why not to's of your behavior. What's truly amazing about the code is that you cannot hold yourself back from success if you simply do the 7 code steps. Now, if you don't do the 7 code steps, I can't make any promises. Actually, I can make one promise. You'll still have your foot on the brake. So the permission pyramid, there's 7 steps. And we're not going to really go into those because that's what each next chapter is. But affirmations is going to be the ground floor. And I've done that chapter. I think a few of you have. It's fantastic. Loving mirrors and safe havens, about gaining unconditional support. Step 3 is systems of support. 5 essential systems of support we're going to learn about. Step 4 are goal-free zones and having goal replacement surgery. Step 5, who am I trying to protect, punish, or please? I know a lot of people have, that's an issue for a lot of people. That's going to be, I feel like that's going to be a tough, I feel like goal-free zones and goal replacement surgery is going to suck for me. And who am I trying to protect, punish, or please? Might suck harder. Step 6, find your no. The ability to say no to others. Some people are not so good at that. I'm super good at that. I am. I'm really good at saying no. But I have some really amazing people on my team who also suck at that, but are getting way better. Step 7, find your because, your ultimate why too. So, are you ready to get your foot off the brake and fly? That's the end. I'm super excited. So, thoughts, questions, excitement, unmute yourself, tell me what you're thinking. That's all I got. So, we can have a little discussion. If anybody has anything to say. Or I could do the worm.
You are a very good dancer.
I'm practicing it for the dance party at convention. All right, I'm going to stop recording then if nobody has anything that might be relevant, mostly so that Deanna will turn her camera back on and you can all see her spray tan.